Greetings, and thank you for joining me for Me Mondays. And we are going to talk about what is your body saying. Many times we react to signs and symptoms, and so we just want to give you some tips on how to not necessarily get to that point, but to live your holistic best life ever. So, I am Natasha L Brown, author, transformational speaker, as well as holistic coach. And tonight we're going to start off with headaches, and that's the most common symptom and sign that most people experience and medicate for. And many times, there was a study done a couple of years ago, and it found out that 75% of participants were dehydrated. So you're thinking, no, I don't think I'm dehydrated. How much water do you drink on a regular basis? And usually when I ask my clients this, I hear silence. So I allow them to fill it out on a form first, and then we discuss it. But how much water are you drinking on a daily basis? Are you drinking the 8 glasses that are recommended? Are you drinking the gallon that a lot of people think is a fad, especially at the beginning of the year? What are you drinking on a regular basis? What do you do daily to make sure that you are getting what your body needs? And many times we neglect our bodies on a regular basis. We may eat here and there, but are we eating life, which is giving us what we need as far as nutrition on a regular basis? And many people are not. So headaches are one of the most popular signs and symptoms, especially migraines have become very popular lately. But what is some of the things? And one of the major keys that helped me when I was able to reverse the diagnosis of cancer that I received several years ago is the emotional component. And many times, especially stress, will give off signs and symptoms that really can be controlled if you get control of whatever your stressor is. And we don't usually do that. We'll take the easy way out, medicating the situation and still trying to deal with it, but not correctly finding a solution. So, stress, dehydration, not eating properly, all of these things can create signs and symptoms in our body that do not need to be medicated, but we need to find out what's going on and why we can't find the balance in our bodies so that we can move forward in a holistic manner. So some emotional reasons that we would have headaches, again, would be stress, would be tension. I know when I was going through my divorce, there were several signs and symptoms that were in my body. Hello, as you all come in, don't forget to share. And if you're seeing this because of a share, go ahead and go over to Natasha L Brown, click like, and make sure you click on see first with the drop down arrow so that you'll know when I'm going live. So some of the signs and symptoms as far as headaches: tension, stress, also making sure that you are eating properly, making sure you're getting plenty of rest, making sure that you're not dehydrated. So you need to drink plenty of water, not just drinks, but water. I have a lot of people that say, well, it has water in it, but you're not drinking pure water. Especially spring water is definitely going to do the body well. Also, the inability to resolve emotional upsets, that becomes that stress, that tension. You're holding on to something that you don't necessarily need to hold on. And what is happening is we are not dealing with situations. And I have had to pull back from some things just to find out exactly what is going on and how I can bring about balance so that I can move forward in some things. Because many times we're thinking we need to medicate or get in a place where we think we are experiencing a dis-ease basically in our body, when it may not necessarily be the body. It's your body warning you what's going on. Thank you for the likes and love. It's your body warning you that something major can come. The body whispers. It'll give you little signs and symptoms, and then you go into a full screen, which usually turns out to be, for many people, a terminal illness diagnosis. When your body has been warning you the entire time, you don't have to get to that point. So, simple aches and pains in the body can be simply the lack of hydrating. It can simply be the lack of not eating the proper foods, missing vitamins. It's amazing if you look at any statistic on any one vitamin, how deficient as Americans we are, and we live in the quote unquote most abundant country, and we can get anything we need, but many people are deficient in something as far as your vitamins are concerned. And just like I said, the 75% with the dehydration. Water is everywhere. Bottled water, reusable bottles, yet and still people are dehydrated. Why are we dehydrated? Because we don't love ourselves enough to move forward in taking care of our bodies. You know, we'll go throughout the entire day and forget to eat. And I have many people that cannot remember what they had throughout the day when we meet in the evening. And even if I have a client in the afternoon, what did you have for breakfast and lunch? If you can't remember, then that means you did not take time to consciously nourish your body. And that is very important to do. Another thing for headaches, hurt feelings going unexpressed, feelings of inner pressure working on you, feeling unable to control. And those are just some different things. And then you can even break it down to the parts of your head, you know, your frontal lobe, the rear, your sides, your temples. Just depending on where you're having the headache, it could depend on what the issue is that you're dealing with. Also, another popular one is back aches. And definitely if you are having any issues with your back, that always says a lot about what's going on in the body as well. And depending on whether it's upper, mid, or lower will depend, and I won't get into that. But the main overall reasons for back pain would be feeling no support, can't cope emotionally. Your emotions play a large role in what goes on in your body. Feeling burdened emotionally, feelings of frustration, wanting someone to get off of your back. You know, a lot of people say that about their jobs, that someone is on their back, but there are many reasons why you may be experiencing some things going on with your back. So again, as you all are coming in, go ahead and share the broadcast, and thank you so much for joining me. I definitely appreciate it. There could be financial reasons that you are experiencing back issues as well. So different parts of the body, your liver tells you something, your bladder tells you something, your kidneys, your heart definitely is a love issue. You know, we only think about it related to love in Valentine's, but it has a large part to do with love issues. Not loving yourself is a major issue with any diagnosis or illness that you're dealing with. Stomach issues, you know, upset stomach, that's one of your major sellers, especially over-the-counter medication. Your stomach issues, some of those emotional issues would be fears, new ideas. It could get your stomach in a knot. You know, it makes you nervous. Lack of affection, unhappy feelings. Our sense of security feels threatened. So just some of these things overlap and cross over because it has a lot to do with whether we are expressing ourselves appropriately, whether we are dealing with things or burying things and not dealing with them. There's a great exercise where you can write out different things. If you know, journaling is always something I promote, but definitely if there's a particular situation, maybe if it's dealing with another person and you don't feel that you can confront that person, if you can, write them a letter or write a letter out. You don't necessarily have to give it to them, but being able to just talk it out with someone that can listen and not necessarily feel that they have to solve the situation, but they can just listen and allow you to really just voice it. And many people, as they begin to talk things out, find a solution in their voice. Find a solution for what's going on. But then you have others that they are asking everyone they encounter. They tell their situation to and hope they get the answer. But you've heard 50 answers before that one, and you still are looking for something else. So being indecisive is a major issue as well with our health. If we're not knowing in what direction we want to go in, if we're not making decisions and hoping that a situation will pass over and go ahead and solve itself, we have to be mature about whatever we're doing and find a way to find out what the solution is. Sometimes we have to pull back, reevaluate, and assess where we are and what's going on to find out what's really happening. And is it something physical or is it something emotional that's creating what our body is saying? Again, if your body is whispering, that's a good time to listen and get ahead of something that can become more detrimental. So the headaches, the upset stomachs, back pain, a lot of those are minor issues that we can get, and they can become major issues, especially if you don't take care of them initially. If you're allowing them to go on for a long period of time, they do become a major issue. And once they become a major issue in the body begins to react. Because if we're not listening to those whispers, then the body will begin to speak a little louder until it begins to scream, and we have to go to the doctor, or we have to go to the hospital, or we're put in a place where we are so uncomfortable that we have to acknowledge what's going on emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. Where is the lack, and what can we do in order to resolve the issue? So just wanted to give some signs and symptoms, because many things that we are making doctor's appointments for and going to the doctor for are simple things that can be fixed. Some of those top things that I always talk about, no matter what my topic is: hydrating. Spring water is definitely best. If you are detoxing, distilled water is going to be wonderful. But making sure you get at least half your weight in ounces if you are not doing a gallon. Depending on what you're working towards will depend on how much water you'll need. Spring water is always best. Also, you want to make sure that you are exercising. That will help with mental clarity as well as for the physical body. You also want to make sure you are eating live foods, foods that are going to give you life. Your fruits and vegetables are always going to be best. Make sure your fruits have seeds in them. Also, you want to make sure you are getting a good night's sleep. How many hours each night do you need in order to function properly the next day and not be grumpy, not be cranky, not have the brain fog? Find out what that is. Most of us don't know because we are running through our day, and then at night we don't wind down, so we're running through our nights. Are you getting a restful night's sleep? So just some of those simple things, finding out what it is that's going on in your body so that you won't have to medicate, so that you won't have to get to a place of a terminal illness diagnosis. So you won't have to be in a place where you are not sure what to do with your body. And it's amazing some of the simple things that we can do. The weather is getting warmer. Well, in most places, midday, you can get some sun, even though it still may be cold. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it. It still may be cold, but the sun plays a large part. If you're vitamin D deficient, a lot of signs and symptoms come from that. So just some simple things that we can think of: not getting fresh air, those that don't get out and interact with others a lot. You know, we read one of the emotional symptoms was the lack of affection. So are you getting the interaction that you need from those that you love, those that care about you? Many times we are isolating ourselves in a way that creates a lot of anxiety and emotional stressors that will then play out in the body. So again, what is your body saying? Finding out what your body is saying, and then appropriately giving your body what it needs. If you're not eating on a regular basis, you know, breakfast, lunch, and dinner is fine, but if you're not eating enough nutrition, you know, going through a drive-through, eating fast food, eating at your desk at work, eating while you're in the car because you're too busy to sit down and consciously eat a meal, all of those things play a large part in what our body is saying. So as your body begins to whisper, slow down enough to listen and find out what your body is actually saying, so that you won't have to be in a position where you have to have medication, so you won't have to be admitted to the hospital. So you won't have to be in a place where you are so overwhelmed that you can't move forward. So listen to your body, love your body enough to make sure it has everything it needs. Take time out for you in order to do what it takes in order to be your best self. You know, this is the beginning of a new month. Great time to restart, refocus, and make sure those things that maybe were not as productive last month, you don't do them again. So definitely take time this evening to make sure that you are planning for success each day. And if there are any questions or comments that you all want to ask and you don't want to ask them publicly, definitely inbox me. Again, I'm Natasha L Brown here on Facebook, as well as YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. go ahead and you can inbox me, or you can go to whathappenedtoyourlastmeal.com, whathappenedtoyourlastmeal.com, and you can contact us there, or natashalbrown.com, either one of those websites, natashalbrown.com, and you can contact us there. So as always, remember that self-love is your superpower. I love you. Have a great week, and thank you so much for watching in the replay or live, as well as for sharing the videos.